I discovered that my wife treated my salary, mid-six figures, as a forensic accountant, like her brother's personal ATM, zeroing out the balance every month. I immediately froze the cards, changed the locks, and moved into the company apartment. She sent me a screenshot of her brother's gambling debt. "If we don't pay, they're going to kill him." I replied, "Let them. It'll be peaceful." 3 months later, a news alert regarding a Vice Squad raid popped up on my phone. High-end escort ring busted. Beneath the pixelated blur in the photo, the platinum anklet I had given her for our wedding anniversary glinted with a piercing familiarity. I dialed my mother-in-law. "Is the money your daughter earned enough to cover your son's debts yet?" "The last 50,000. I just transferred it." My wife, Sarah, lowered her phone, her face as pale as used tissue paper, yet her eyes held a look of relieved exhaustion. I sat on the sofa opposite her, holding a cup of cold coffee, while my heart felt like it had been dropped into a deep fryer, searing in agony. Our joint account had just hit zero. That last $50,000 was my quarterly performance bonus. I had planned to use it to pay down the mortgage and enroll our daughter in the equestrian classes she'd been begging for. Now it was just a string of digital code flowing into an anonymous offshore account. "Ethan, this is truly the last time." Sarah's voice was weak, laced with pleading. Ryan swore. "Once this is paid off, he's going straight. No more gambling." I didn't speak. I just watched her. We had been married 5 years. Our daughter, Lily, was 3. As a forensic accountant, my salary and bonuses put us comfortably in the upper middle class. To the outside world, we were the picture of success. No one knew the foundation of this home had long been hollowed out by Sarah's brother, Ryan, the bottomless pit. First, it was a failed startup, 20,000. Then bad investments, 40,000. Later, scammed by a partner, 100,000. Every time, Sarah cried and begged, saying he was her only brother, that she couldn't abandon him. I was soft-hearted. Once, twice, 3 times. Until 6 months ago, when I accidentally discovered she had raided Lily's college fund. I realized then that this wasn't bad luck or bad business. It was gambling, an infinite black hole. I had a massive fight with her, confiscated her cards, and changed my direct deposit passwords. I thought that would cut off the source. I was naive. I forgot she still had access to our joint checking account, which I rarely monitored. I had been buried in an overseas audit for 3 months, ignoring the statements. In those 3 months, transaction by transaction, she had drained my savings, my portfolio, everything. "Ethan, say something." Sarah panicked at my silence. "Don't be like this. You're scaring me." I finally raised my eyes, my gaze landing on her face like a scalpel. "Where is Ryan?" She flinched. He's hiding at a friend's place." "Call him back, or tell me where he is." My voice was flat, devoid of ripples. In my profession, I specialize in finding truth within chaotic ledgers and maintaining absolute rationality amidst emotional collapse. What are you going to do?" Sarah's eyes filled with wariness. "Ethan, you can't call the police. They'll put him in jail." "No police." I laughed, the sound full of jagged ice. "Sarah, do you know how much money you've taken from this family in 5 years?" Without waiting for an answer, I pulled a file from under the coffee table and threw it in front of her. Total, $720,000. Every transfer, every cash withdrawal, I had marked clearly in red ink. Time, amount, destination. It was shocking to behold. That's not a brother. That is a parasite attached to your marriage. And you are the accomplice. Sarah's face lost all color. She clutched the file, fingers trembling, unable to speak a word. Ding dong. Her phone chimed. She grabbed it like a lifeline. On the screen was a photo. Ryan, beaten black and blue, kneeling on the floor, a boot stamping on his hand. The caption was concise. "Tomorrow noon, another 150 grand, or this hand is interest." Sarah's psychological defenses crumbled instantly. She dropped to her knees in front of me, hugging my legs, wailing, "Ethan, save him. Please save him. It's loan sharks. They'll kill him." I looked at her, at the woman I had loved for years, now humbled into the dust for her gambling addict brother. "Didn't you say the 50,000 was the last of it?" I didn't know. They changed the terms." She sobbed uncontrollably. "Ethan, we still have the condo. We can sell the condo, as long as we save his life." "Sell the condo." This downtown penthouse, for which my parents paid the down payment and we paid the mortgage. Our only home. Lily's castle. Now, she wanted to sell it for that mud-wallowing brother of hers. In that instant, something inside me died completely. I pulled my leg free from her grasp, stood up, and walked to the balcony. Sarah thought I was looking for a solution, hope dawning on her face. Instead, I took out my phone, aimed it at the city lights, then turned the camera on her. "What are you doing?" She froze. I pressed record, my voice calm and cruel. "Don't you like threatening me with death? Go ahead. Jump. If you jump, I'll sell the house and pay your brother's debt. I'm a man of my word." Sarah's crying stopped abruptly. She looked at me like I was a monster, disbelief written all over her face. "Ethan, are you crazy?" "I'm not crazy." I held the phone, stepping closer. "I just want to see what weighs more in your heart. Your life, my life, our daughter's future, or your junkie brother. Go on, jump. In it all." She backed away in terror until her back hit the cold wall, nowhere left to retreat. I pocketed my phone and dialed another number. "Hello, Barbara." It was my mother-in-law. "It's Ethan." I glanced at Sarah, collapsed on the floor. "Sarah is here. She's hysterical, bordering on suicidal. You need to come pick her up. Oh, and tell Ryan not to send that 150 grand is coming from me. Let him figure it out. Lose a hand, lose a foot. It has nothing to do with me anymore." I hung up immediately, giving them no chance to speak. The world was finally quiet. I gave Sarah no time to react. I walked into the bedroom, pulled out a pre-packed suitcase from the closet. My movements were crisp, efficient. Sarah stared blankly, still processing my coldness. "Ethan, where are you going?" Her voice was hoarse. "Company housing." I didn't look up as I packed essentials, work files, and my laptop. "You're not coming home? What about Lily?" She mentioned our daughter, her final weapon. I paused while zipping the bag, then looked her dead in the eye. "The moment you transferred Lily's college fund to your brother, you lost the right to speak her name." The sentence was a poisoned dagger, piercing her last pretense. She slumped to the floor, sobbing violently. I didn't look back. "By the way," I said at the entryway, "starting tomorrow, your supplementary cards, our joint accounts, and all auto payments linked to me are suspended. I'm also notifying the building management to revoke your key fob and biometric access. Good luck." The door slammed shut behind me, cutting off her desperate cries. I knew the war had just begun. The next morning, I initiated my scorched earth policy. I called my private banker to freeze and cancel every card Sarah could touch. I called the insurance company, changing the beneficiaries on all policies from Sarah to my parents and daughter. I called a divorce attorney to strategize custody. The lawyer warned me that despite her faults, courts often lean toward the mother for young children. I needed stronger evidence to prove she was unfit. I knew this would take time. I had to wait for the opposition to make a fatal mistake. My phone buzzed incessantly with calls from Sarah and her mother. I ignored them all, silencing the device. At noon, a text from my mother-in-law arrived, shifting from hysteria to a tone of elderly wisdom. "Ethan, I know you're angry, but no matter what Ryan did, he is Sarah's flesh and blood. Family is connected by bone and sinew. You can't be this heartless. Pushing Sarah to a dead end benefits no one." I sneered at the text and typed a reply. "A spoiled son is the father's failure." She didn't reply. That afternoon, Sarah appeared in the lobby of my office building. The receptionist whispered nervously over the intercom, "Mr. Cole, your wife is at the front desk. She's very emotional and insists on seeing you. Tell her I'm in a transnational conference call and won't be available for a month. If she continues to make a scene, call security." I hung up and stood behind the blinds, watching the familiar yet alien figure in the lobby below. She was wearing the Chanel dress I bought for our anniversary last year, but her makeup was ruined by tears, her hair a mess. She looked like a woman abandoned by the world. She screamed my name, drawing stares for passers-by. 2 security guards approached, polite but firm, and escorted her out. She struggled and screamed until she was half-dragged from the building. I watched with zero emotion. My heart had died the moment I saw that $700,000 deficit. All that remained was a calculating forensic accountant clearing bad debts for the sake of his future and his daughter. That night, I settled into the corporate executive suite. It offered a panoramic view of the city skyline. I poured a whiskey, sat by the window, and felt a long-lost peace. My phone screen lit up, a text from an unknown number. "Cole, you better pay back your wife's debt, or else. We know where your daughter goes to preschool. Here it comes." Instead of fear, I felt a flicker of excitement. The fish were biting. I screenshot the text, encrypted and saved it, then forwarded the number to my lawyer and private investigator. Next, I called the director of Lily's preschool. I informed her that starting tomorrow, no one but me, specifically not my wife, Sarah, was authorized to pick up my daughter. My company would provide 2 top-tier security detail for the school until the matter was resolved. Done. I sipped my drink, watching the glittering city. "Sarah, and your family. You think this is just a marital spat, a Cold War. You're wrong. This is total war. The complete economic blockade was like draining the water from a fish tank. Sarah and her family plunged into panic. Without me as their ATM, Ryan's loans exploded. My in-laws' life savings had long been sucked dry by their dutiful son. Now, even daily expenses were a struggle. For the next week, I endured everything from phone bombings to physical ambushes. My in-laws dragged Sarah to my office 3 times a day. They stopped crying and adopted a "we're here to solve problems" posture, trying to accidentally meet me in the lobby or garage. I let my assistant and security handle it. My rule was simple: no meetings, no talks, no response. This cat-and-mouse game lasted days until they realized emotional blackmail no longer worked. So they changed tactics. One night, I received a video call from Sarah. I hesitated, then answered. I needed to assess her state. In the video, she was skeletal, her eyes bloodshot. She didn't speak, but turned the camera. My daughter, Lily, was playing with blocks on a sofa, presumably at my in-laws. "Lily, do you miss Daddy?" Sarah asked softly. My 3-year-old called out in her sweet voice, "Daddy, Daddy hug." My heart clenched. It was the first time I'd seen her in a week. "Ethan, did you hear that? She misses you." Sarah's voice was exhausted. "Can we meet? Just us. I won't talk about money or my brother. Just Lily. Please." A new tactic, using my daughter as leverage. Fine, I agreed. I couldn't let them keep controlling her. We met in a private booth at a coffee shop. She looked even worse than on video. The once elegant Chanel dress hung off her frame. "You lost weight," I said flatly. She smiled bitterly, stirring her coffee. "Thanks to you. Where is Lily?" "Send her back to the condo. Ive hired a nini." I cut to the chase. "Ethan, does it have to come to this?" She looked up, eyes brimming with tears again. 700 grand is a lot. But he's my brother. Could I just watch him die? We're married. Isn't your money my money? I looked at her and found it laughable. "Sarah, you're confused. My money is our money. It belongs to this family, me, you, Lily. It is not a charitable grant for your brother's bottomless pit." I slid a document across the table. "This is an asset stripping analysis. Of the $720,000 you transferred over 5 years, $480,000 came from my premarital assets and gifts from my parents. Under the law, that money has nothing to do with you or your brother. This isn't using family money. This is theft, embezzlement." My professional skills were now my sharpest weapon. Sarah stared at the flowchart, every source and classification marked clearly. Her face turned from pale to ash gray. I didn't know," she mumbled. "You didn't know? You, a finance major from a top university, don't know the difference between premarital and community property? You were just gambling, betting that I loved you, that I wouldn't count the cost, that I would tolerate it for the sake of the family." My voice was quiet, but every word was a nail driven into her heart. "Now, I'm done tolerating." I took the file back. "Send Lily back, or this file goes to the police." She broke down, head on the table, shoulders shaking violently. After a long time, she looked up. Her eyes no longer held pleading, but a look I'd never seen before, a mix of despair and malice. "Ethan, you are cruel. I'm just cutting my losses. You'll regret this," she said, enunciating every word. "I'll wait and see." The meeting ended badly, but the next day, Lily was returned. I immediately set the nanny and security guards to watch her 24/7. I thought I had one around, until 3 days later, I got a call. It was my mother-in-law, Barbara. Her voice was terrifyingly calm. "Ethan, we found a way to handle Ryan's debt. Don't worry, we won't spend another dime of yours." My stomach dropped. A bad premonition took hold. "But," she continued, "after this is over, you must promise to reconcile with Sarah. Treat her like before. After all, everything she's doing is for this family." "For this family?" I almost laughed. "What did she do?" On the other end, Barbara sighed ambiguously. "She just want to make some quick money." Quick money. The phrase sounded light coming from her, but it hit me like a boulder falling into a frozen lake. I immediately thought of what my PI Reynolds had mentioned, a talent director named Leo and his high-end club. My blood boiled and went ice cold. "What did you make her do?" My knuckles turned white gripping the phone. "Ethan, don't worry about what she did. You just need to know she's saving her brother, saving the Miller family's face. She's a good daughter, a good sister. You should treat her well." Her tone held no guilt, only the pressure of moral kidnapping. I was shaking with rage, unable to speak, and hung up. I dialed Reynolds immediately. "Reynolds, eyes on Sarah. 24 hours. Everywhere she goes. Especially check a guy named Leo and his businesses." "Mr. Cole, do you suspect?" Reynolds sounded professional. "I don't suspect." I interrupted, my voice dry. "I need to confirm. confirmed just how low my wife would sink with her family's encouragement. Over the next few days, Reynolds reports arrived in my encrypted inbox daily. Day 1. Sarah sold all her designer bags and jewelry, netting about $30,000. A drop in the bucket against the loan sharks. Day 2. She frantically called her socialite friends to borrow money. Ironically, the women she used to brunch with avoided her like the plague. Day 3. She went to the bank, trying to mortgage her parents' house. But seeing Ryan's credit history and the lien threats, the bank rejected her instantly. Reality's iron walls had closed in. On the night of Day 4, Reynolds called. Mr. Cole. She went to find Leo. My heart hit the floor. Where? East Side. Private club called Elysium. Security is tight. I can't get in. I'm holding position outside. Understood. Keep watching. I sat in the dark, smoking one cigarette after another. Smoke blurred my face and the night outside. Memories of Sarah and me flashed. Meeting on campus, her tearful I do at the wedding, her smile holding Lily. It felt like a past life. Was the girl I once saw as pure as paper really walking down a path of no return? Just as I wrestled with myself, the phone rang. Sarah. I stared at the name, hesitating for the first time. Finally, I slid to answer. Ethan. Her voice was light, hollow, drifting from far away. What is it? She paused. I just wanted to say, saw the before. I was too willful, too immature. I stayed silent, listening. You're a good husband, a good father. I'm the one who failed you and Lily. She sounded like she was crying. If there's a next live file, I'll be better. It sounded like a suicide note. My chest tightened. Sarah, where are you? What are you doing? Don't worry. She laughed suddenly, a sound uglier than weeping. I just found a solution. Soon, it'll all be over. Sarah, I shouted, don't do anything stupid. Money can be earned back. She interrupted, her laugh filled with despair and self-mockery. Ethan, you still don't understand. Some debts can't be paid with money. They're paid with life or something more important than life. The line went dead. I called back, straight to voicemail. I grabbed my keys and sprinted out. Elysium. I didn't care what she decided. I had to stop her. However, just as I reached the car, a breaking news alert froze me in place. Breaking. Tonight at 8 p.m., police arrested a woman for attempted grand larceny at the plaza. The suspect attempted to steal a luxury watch valued at $50,000 from the Bulgari boutique. The photo showed a woman handcuffed, head down, flanked by officers. Her face was blurred, but the Chanel dress was unmistakable. And on her wrist, the anniversary bracelet I gave her. It was Sarah. She hadn't gone to Elysium. She chose another path. Equally stupid, equally irreversible. I collapsed into the driver's seat, drained. Her call wasn't a suicide note. It was a final curse directed at me, the man who pushed her before she jumped into the abyss. Sarah was detained. My in-laws called immediately. This time, they were truly panicked. Barbara's sobbing and Frank's roaring mixed together, conveying one core message. It was all my fault. Ethan, you bastard. You drove Sarah to become a thief. The Miller family name is ruined because of you. Frank bellowed. Yes, Ethan, get her out. She's your wife. If she goes to prison, how does that look for you? What about Lily? People will say her mother is a jailbird. Barbara wailed. I listened to their accusations, feeling nothing but a cold urge to laugh. Even now, I didn't care why she did it, only about their face and dragging me down. First, I said coldly when they paused for breath, she is an adult. Stealing was her choice. I didn't force her. Second, she is my wife, but she is your daughter first. Your precious son creates a disaster. You force your daughter to fix it, and now you blame the outsider? Is there no justice? Third, my voice dropped to absolute zero. Do not call me again, or I will hand over all evidence of Ryan's loan shark debts and your coercion of Sarah to the police. Then it won't just be theft. It'll be conspiracy to commit extortion. Weigh your options. I hung up and blocked them. The world was quiet again, but I wasn't calm. Sarah's arrest was a key chess piece. A felony theft charge, while not capital, was definitive proof of moral failing for the custody battle. Yet I felt no joy. I sent Reynolds to dig. The results came back. First offense, attempted theft. If she could get the brand to drop charges or show leniency and pay restitution, she might get probation. Leniency and restitution. Money again. Bulgari's legal team contacted me. Polite official. Mr. Cole, this affects our brand, but considering you're a VVP client, if you intervene. I knew what they meant. I write a check. Sarah avoids the worst. Everyone expected me to do it. My lawyer, friends, even Reynolds. Mr. Cole, she's Lily's mother. A criminal record isn't good for the kid. I wavered. For days, I locked myself away, staring at photos of Lily. Her innocent smile. I let her grow up knowing her mother was a convict. I was ready to cave. Not for Sarah, for Lily. Just as I reached for the phone to tell the lawyer to settle, an anonymous package arrived. Inside was a USB drive. I hesitated, then plugged it in. A single video file. The setting was a hospital room. Ryan lay in bed, leg in a cast, suspended. He was eating an apple, chatting with his mother, Barbara. It was hidden camera footage. Mom, do you think Ethan will help sis this time? He has to. Barbara's tone was ironclad. Don't worry. I know Ethan. He cares about his reputation and he dotes on Lily. He'd never let his wife go to jail. Let Lily have a convict mom. Watch. Even if he's furious, he'll pay up to get her out. Ryan laughed smugly. You're a genius, Mom. This bitter flash trick? No, this is besieging way to rescue Zhao. Sis goes in for a bit, steals something, gets caught, and it puts Ethan in a corner. When he gets her out, he owes us. Then the 100 grand I owe? Easy money. Exactly. Barbara gloated. Your sister is too soft. I told her to go to Leo. She refused, insisted on stealing. Fine, stealing works too. Same result, forcing Ethan's hand. Once he pays, we're back to the good life. Right, I need a new car too. I'm sick of the BMW. The video cut out. I sat there, freezing cold. So that was it. Sarah's theft wasn't a desperate act. It was a carefully orchestrated play. A bitter flesh strategy directed by my mother-in-law and Ryan, starring Sarah, designed to corner me. They banked on my love for my daughter, on my soft heart. They took me for a fool. I smashed a glass against the wall. Crash. The shards mirrored my heart. Any shred of pity instantly pulverized. I picked up the phone and called my lawyer. Mr. Vance, my voice was calm, a dormant volcano. Inform Bulgari we are not seeking a settlement. We proceed with full prosecution. Also, take this USB drive and mail it anonymously to the district attorney handling the case. Mr. Cole, are you sure? If we do this, Ms. Miller will. I'm sure. I interrupted. I don't just want her in jail. I want her to know exactly who she and her family messed with. Hesitation is defeat. After I declared full prosecution, the situation spiraled out of the Miller family's control. Because of the high dollar value and my refusal to advocate for leniency, Sarah's bail was denied. She was remanded to custody pending trial. When Barbara heard, she reportedly fainted. Upon waking, she dragged Ryan to my office, screaming obscenities at the building, calling me a bastard. I had security record it and sent it to my lawyer for a restraining order and defamation suit. When the police picked them up for questioning, their expressions must have been priceless. This was no longer a domestic drama. It was total legal warfare. As a forensic accountant, I excel at forcing opponents into corners using the rules of the game. The trial came quickly. I didn't attend, but Reynolds did. Sarah's defense tried the distressed wife/husband's financial abuse angle. But when the prosecutor played the hospital video, the courtroom went silent. Ryan and Barbara's gloating conversation echoed off the walls. It wasn't desperation, it was conspiracy. In the defendant's chair, Sarah watched the video of her mother and brother laughing. She looked catatonic. The blood drained from her face, shifting from disbelief to humiliation, then absolute despair. She never imagined the family she sacrificed everything for viewed her as a disposable tool, a weapon for extortion. The verdict came down. Guilty of grand larceny. Sentenced to 3 years. As the bailiff handcuffed her, she turned, looking through the crowd, locking eyes with Reynolds. She knew he was my man. Her lips moved. Reynolds told me later she mouthed, I hate you. I knew she hated me. But so what? I got what I wanted, a felony conviction, irrefutable proof of unfitness. I immediately filed for divorce and full custody. With the conviction, resistance was futile. A mother in prison versus a wealthy, reputable father. The court granted the divorce and sole custody to me. Sarah was denied visitation for the duration of her sentence and 2 years post-release. Regarding assets, thanks to my forensic tracing, the condo and most liquid assets were awarded to me. I won. Clean sweep. The day I got the decree, I drove to the ocean. I watched the tide, feeling empty. I expected relief or the thrill of revenge. I felt only exhaustion. The 6-month war had drained me. I was a general standing over scorched earth. My phone rang. Unknown number. Is this Ethan? A frail, old voice. My ex-father-in-law, Frank. What? I asked coldly. I'm begging you. Let us go. He sounded tearful. Ryan. The loan sharks took him. They said if we don't have the money in 3 days, they'll take his life. Oh, I replied. He should have died a long time ago. Ethan, you have a poisonous heart. Frank shouted. You put Sarah in jail. Now you want Ryan dead? Did I kill him? I laughed. You did. Your greed, stupidity, and enabling raised that waste of space and pushed him into the abyss. You're just tasting your own fruit. Don't call me again. Or next time, I'll show you what true ruin looks like. I blocked the number and drove away. The sea breeze was salty. I told myself it was over. But this was just a prologue. The true horror of human nature was yet to come. Life seemed to normalize. Without the Millers, my world was sterile and quiet. I poured myself into work and Lily. I came home on time, read bedtime stories. We went to the stables on weekends. Her laughter was the only flower blooming in my wasteland. I thought peace had returned, until 3 months later. I had put Lily to bed and was working in the study. A local news notification popped up. Police raid the Gilded Cage, city's largest high-end prostitution ring dismantled. I was about to close it, but a photo in the evidence gallery froze my blood. Amidst designer bags and phones, a platinum anklet lay coiled. The charm was a diamond-encrusted S for Sarah, the one I gave her. My heart skipped a beat. I clicked the article. The Gilded Cage posed as a private club, but trafficked women to high-net-worth individuals. The article included a photo of the raid. Women in revealing clothes, faces blurred, being led away. One woman, even blurred, her posture, her walk, and a glint on her ankle. It was Sarah. My mind went blank. How? She was supposed to be in prison. I called Reynolds, voice shaking. Reynolds, find out everything about the Gilded Cage raid tonight. Why was Sarah Miller there? Reynolds was fast. 30 minutes later, he called back. His voice was heavy. Mr. Cole, it's complicated. Speak. Sarah, she never went to prison. Reynolds took a breath. After sentencing, during the pre-incarceration medical, she tested positive for pregnancy. What? I stood up. Pregnant? Whose? Unknown. But under the law, pregnant offenders can be granted deferred execution of sentence. She was released on probation. My mind raced. Pregnancy. Loophole. When? Before I left? After? If after? A terrible thought coiled like a snake in my brain. I won the court case, but she used a biology loophole to slip the net. And once out, she didn't come to me, didn't go home. She went straight to the Gilded Cage. Why? Money. To pay the debt for that waste of a brother. My phone rang. A local number. I put on speaker. Hello, Mr. Ethan Cole. The voice was polite but detached. This is the NYPD Vice Squad. Regarding the investigation into Sarah Miller for prostitution and solicitation, we need you to come in. She isn't suspected of prostitution, I heard myself say, my voice calm but terrifying. She's a principal organizer. Silence on the line. Mr. Cole, do you have evidence? Of course. I looked at the photo of the anklet on my screen. Because I'm the one who anonymously tipped you off about the Gilded Cage. I hung up. The room was deadly silent. I slowly sat back, picked up my phone, and unblocked Barbara Miller. I dialed. It rang for a long time. Hello. Who is this? Barbara's voice was timid. It's me, Ethan. Panic spiked in her voice. Why are you calling? Ryan has already been. I don't care about your son. I cut her off, my voice soft as a devil's whisper. I just wanted to ask, the money your daughter earned these past few months was enough to pay off his gambling debt. Dead silence. Then, a scream sharp enough to pierce eardrums and the sound of a phone hitting the floor. I became the ex-husband of the year. When I arrived at the precinct as the key whistleblower, handing over financial trails linking Sarah, Ryan, and the loan sharks, the detectives looked at me with complex expressions. My evidence elevated the case from a simple vice raid to a tragic, orchestrated criminal conspiracy. I documented how her family coerced her, how Leo exploited her desperation, and Reynolds' intel on how, during her medical probation, she became the club's top earner, funneling every cent to loan sharks. She was dedicated. Using her degree and former socialite status, she built a persona as a high-intellect goddess, charging a premium. She thought she was sacrificing herself for family. She didn't know every step was under my surveillance. Every dirty dollar was evidence I used to bury her. The fatal blow was the client list. Reynolds bought it from one of Leo's lackeys. It contained names, dates, amounts. When I handed it over, it triggered an earthquake in the city's upper crust. CEOs, professors, politicians. The scandal was massive. Sarah's charges were upgraded to racketeering and conspiracy. Combined with the grand larceny and violating probation, she was facing the abyss. And the baby? DNA tests proved it wasn't mine, nor any clients. It was Leo's. The pimp who dragged her down had shackled her with his child. The detectives were shaken. I attended the trial. Back row, hat low, mask on. A ghost. Sarah stood in the dock, visibly pregnant, radiating decay. She was numb as the charges were read, until the judge asked for her plea. She looked up, scanning the gallery like a radar, locking onto me instantly. She smiled, a grotesque expression. Guilty. Then she stared at me and screamed, "Ethan Cole, I will haunt you from hell." The scream tore through the courtroom. I watched her, feeling no fear, no joy, not even anger. Just sorrow. For her, and for me. Sarah was sentenced to 15 years. The baby, born in custody, went to foster care. Ryan's fate was worse. With the money pipeline cut, the loan sharks snapped. They severed the tendons in his hands and feet and dumped him in an abandoned lot. He survived, but as a cripple. My in-laws sold their house to pay his medical bills, moving into a slum. Frank worked odd jobs. Barbara lost her mind, muttering on the doorstep. A once decent family, destroyed by a bottomless son and a spineless daughter. I had everything I wanted: freedom, Lily, assets, and judgment upon my enemies. I was the sole victor. After the dust settled, I did one last thing. I had Reynolds compile the entire story into an exposé, submitted anonymously to a major investigative journal. I used aliases, but the details were specific enough for anyone who knew them. Title: The Brother's Keeper. How toxic loyalty led to crime and ruin. It detailed the forensic accounting, the secret recording of the bitter flesh plot, the descent into vice. It exploded online. Public opinion was a tsunami. These parents are cancer. Ethan A. did the right thing. The internet hunted the Millers down. People threw trash at their rental. Frank couldn't work. Barbara was institutionalized. Ryan, bedridden, became the face of the man-baby epidemic. I turned a family tragedy into a public execution. I stood by my window, reading the comments. Did I win? Yes. Was I happy? Maybe. But the woman who once smiled at me was gone. I protected my daughter, but I also ensured she would never have a mother. When she grows up, how do I explain this? That her father hand-delivered her mother to hell. The taste of victory was like ash and broken glass in my mouth. 1 year later, I was taking Lily to Vancouver. I sold everything in the U.S. Before leaving, I went to the prison. Just to look. Through the fence, I saw Sarah. Blue jumpsuit, short hair, no makeup. She was weeding the yard. Mechanical. Numb. The malice was gone, replaced by a dead calm. I watched for 5 minutes, then turned away. Nothing left to say. At the airport, Lily grabbed my hand. "Daddy, why are we leaving?" I crouched down, looking into her clear eyes. "Because Daddy wants to take Lily to a place with lots of snow and maple leaves. A new start." Okay. She clapped. I smiled, but it didn't reach my eyes. As the plane climbed through the clouds, the city vanished. I leaned back and closed my eyes. My life was a ledger torn in half. I had used the coldest methods to write off the bad debt. A perfect crisis management operation. But the parts of me I lost, the Ethan who believed in forever, died in that war. What survived was a calculating victor. But in this war, there were no winners. We were all sacrifices on the altar of human tragedy. The sunlight outside was blinding, but I felt cold. I knew the scars of this war were etched into my soul. A reminder that once you stare into the abyss, you can never look away. I carried that heavy clarity into my remaining years.